What's up, everybody? It's Friday. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports. What's good on the weekend? Hopefully, everybody have a nice day at work. And the boxing talk never stops because we got some informative topics for you, some hot and heavy. Some commonality to the sport of boxing when it comes to Tyson Fury. So let's get right in it. For those of you that's tuning in, I appreciate your support. Salute to you all. Continue to share the vids, subscribe to the channel, pass the word, because that's what it's all about. And I totally appreciate it. Salute to you. Tyson Fury is going to fight out of Wallin. Okay, let me say that name again. Tyson Fury is going to fight out of Wallin. Now, if you're asking yourself who is, what is, and the why, then that is the scope of the landscape of the heavyweight division. To be honest, like think about it. Who else can Tyson Fury fight right now? Because this guy Otto Wallin, I believe, is ranked um, in the WBA and IBF, if I'm not mistaken. You know, I believe in the WBA he's ranked number 4, and then IBF 11th. So WBA number 4, IBF number 11. Does that mean anything else than what I was saying initially? As far as the importance goes to this bout, not really. A lot of you that may be casual boxing fans is not gonna have any interest in Otto Wallin, except for the fact that he looks like Tom Schwartz. He's a German fighter. I mean, he's a Swedish fighter. You know what I'm saying? Tom Schwartz is a German fighter, and then before him, you had Francisco Pianetta, German fighter. All these fighters look alike. You know what I'm saying? For Tyson Fury, man, it's almost like a Tinder profile. Shit. All these fighters damn near the makeup, the composite, and everything else that draws right into Tyson Fury, man, picking his next opponent. It's funny, as much as I want to criticize Tyson Fury, right? I really can't, from the observation of the heavyweight division. I can't because Tyson Fury is contending against the remaining bucket of opponents that's out there. There's no way he can fight Dillian White just coming off Oscar Rivas. All right. He can't fight Anthony Joshua, who's due to turn against Anthony Ruiz if that happens. Luis Ortiz is set to fight Deontay Wilder. I mean, that's some of the heavy hitters because if you look at the fight before Tom Schwartz, Deontay Wilder, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, WBC heavyweight champion, the best in the division right now. Let that be known. So, speaking of Tyson Fury, Joseph Parker, I'm not gonna fight Joseph Parker, man. He's coming off a bout with Dillian White, lost again. He's just been on a downhill spiral since losing to Joshua, to be honest. Adam Konaki, he's due to face Chris Arreola over there at NYC. So that's going to be a burner. Adam Konaki is one of these volume punchers. His body makeup composition doesn't really fit the typical boxer reader, somewhat like Andy Ruiz, but he can fight. You know what I'm saying? He can throw down. So I got to give him that love, man. Alexander Povetkin last fight was September 22nd. At Wembley Stadium against Anthony Joshua. We all know how that turned out. It didn't sell out, but Anthony Joshua was able to pull it out. And then, of course, Pulev. Pulev is a kissing bandit. He got put on suspension and everything else to go along with it. We're really not sure when he's going to be back. You know what I'm saying? Maybe when he finds some self-control. But I'm really going down a list of opponents, potential opponents that could have stepped in to fight Tyson Fury. And there just isn't any high tier names out there. Rivas. We all know Rivas just came off Dillian White, and we're gonna touch bases on that, man. A lot of people are sitting up here talking about vindicated for Dillian White because a lot of tests came back clear, but yet he popped for UCAD. You know, how does that bleed over? Into the punishment factor? He popped for anabolics, PEDs. Moving on. Derek Chisora coming off that fight with Dillian White. Then, of course, Dominique Brazil is somewhat in recovery from that first round, 2 minutes and 16 seconds, first round knockout to Deontay Wilder. Joe Joyce is coming off his win. So I'm just naming off the WBC rankings so you can kind of get an idea just of Tyson Fury's limited, selection, man, when it comes to Otto Wallin. Now, if you go to the WBA, you're looking at Alexander Usyk, one who's a former cruiserweight, undisputed, and somehow he's ranked number 2 in the WBA without even having a contest yet, without even contending in the division. And besides that, we can't select David Price. He's coming off a loss. Michael Hunter, no. Povetkin, not even close. I mean, the older fighter. Alexander Povetkin is just freaking older fighter. He's not coming in here to face Tyson Fury. And Fraser Quendo, that's not going to happen. So it really is, it's kind of limited. You know what I'm saying? JJC 2018. What happened to Top Rank won an American opponent? Yeah, I know, right? That's a damn good point, man. I want to ask that question myself, JJC. You know what I'm saying? Denise Ward, what's good? What's good? Thanks for tuning in to YouTube. Yeah, Denise Ward. You know what I'm saying? You are most welcome. You know how it goes with Top Rank, man. Bob Arum do what the fuck Bob Arum wants to do. He does what he wants to do. It's some pluses and minuses to how he do business. He's been in the jungle for quite some time. So we all know Bob Arum is gonna manipulate and finagle and do whatever he chooses to have that influence on the best fights. Unfortunately, well, the good thing about it, some positive news, is that Top Rank won the purse bid for Shakur Stevenson and Oscar Valdez. And from what I'm hearing, with that win, Valdez, who has been in the division, I believe around 7 years, the lucky number 7, and defending his title like 6 times, he's gonna vacate. You know what I'm saying? Oscar Valdez is gonna vacate. That's the word. The official word hasn't came over yet, but from what I'm hearing, man, Oscar Valdez may potentially vacate the title. So that'll set up Shakur Stevenson to fight whoever's in line to step in there with Shakur Stevenson, and I'm pretty sure he will win his first world title. Period. Oscar Valdez don't have anything to prove. All right, dude is defending his title numerous of times. He's been in the divisions for a length amount of tenure. Believe that. So him moving up, I mean, you can't blame the man. He's been there for quite some time. He deserved it. He should have been gone already. He was out with an injury, had to have his jaw wired shut. Yeah, man. So for him to go from 126 featherweight up to super featherweight division, it was time, long time. He's past the clock. He should have been gone. He's coming off a victory too. So who do you think? Oscar Valdez vacated the WBO title. Who's going to be next? Who? Jesse Magnolino? Man, he ain't messing with Shakur Stevenson right now. I don't care what anybody got to say about that. Who are we looking at? You know what I'm saying? Who are we looking at right now? Stepping there with Shakur Stevenson, that's going to be a reputable opponent. JJC said, I'll suggest Warrington, but we know Stevenson ain't going over to the leagues. I'm not sure about that, JJC. Shakur Stevenson may indeed go over there, because what I know about Shakur Stevenson is that, like Errol Spence, he would definitely like to prove to the boxing public that's that's quite, still standing off in the distance to support him. He would definitely like to prove to go over there and get the title. You know what I'm saying? That's how Shakur Stevenson thinks. The time before I spoke to him when we was in NYC, um, when he fought at the MSG on the Terrence Crawford Amir Khan fight, right? He said he's planning on doing his own thing. He's getting to that point where he's gonna start, spreading his wings and going out here shining, man, like a diamond. And sure enough, he had his headlining fight in Newark, New Jersey, in his hometown. The very next fight. So if he has to make those decisions, or the momentum that he's carrying right now, man, I think he'll go over there if he has to. But I'm pretty sure Top Rank will appease him by all means necessary, I believe. I'm not quite sure how the process works, but Chris Stevenson is that shining star right now, one of the shining stars in Top Rank, and they're gonna make the fight where it makes the most money. That's real. Wherever it makes the most money, that's what your Chris Stevens is going to fight. But it has to be an opponent to kind of mesh that all together to bring the fans, man. You know what I'm saying? To get them to gravitate over to see Shakur Stevenson, whoever he plan on fighting. I can tell you this: Oscar Valdez and Shakur Stevenson will be a damn good fight, man. I mean, damn. As much as I want to say, okay, Valdez, just wait, fight Shakur Stevenson. The one that's benefiting from that fight right there, in my opinion, will be Shakur Stevenson. Because Valdez, if he defeats Shakur Stevenson, people will be saying, like, he wasn't ready. He still had maturation to his skill set. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Boxing Conversation with Reggie Owens, man. And you know what? If you haven't subscribed to this man's channel, you need to do so ASAP. Subscribe to Boxing Conversation with Reggie Owens, man. Good shit. Good content over there, man. What's up with you, Reggie? But I think seeing Valdez and Stevenson, man, the masses will come out to support these young warriors. Real talk. And unfortunately, from what I'm hearing, man, that it's not gonna suffice. I believe that Valdez may indeed move up to 130 and keep it moving. I can tell you, if he move up to 130, he got some hitters up there waiting on him for real. You know what I'm saying? People talking about he might face Miguel Burchett, and WBA. You got Devontae Davis, who's coming off that win against Ricardo Nunez in devastating fashion. Um, Tevin Farmer, of course, and Jamel Herring. So all the ones that's, of course, there's contenders below that. All right, that fills the plate for Oscar Valdez, no doubt about it. I'm just saying the heavy hitters that's up top in the 130-pound division is there. He has plenty of competition from the top 10 up to the champions. It's all about what he chooses to do. What y'all think? I mean, you think Oscar Valdez will sustain, you know, his current title, the WBO, and fight Shakur Stevenson at featherweight? Or he will indeed vacate the title and move up to 130? It all depends, you know? Let me know what you think. From what I've seen with Shakur Stevenson, the man ain't afraid of nothing. He's ready to get that first world title shot. I know if he's able to have it at the Prudential Center or even the Barclays, the MSG, whatever, I'm pretty sure he would try to make that shit happen because it's close to home. I'm not sure how much, leeway they're going to provide for Shakur Stevenson going into his first title shot. But I can tell you like this, It'll be a big deal. That's just my OP. You know what I'm saying? It'll be a big deal. I'm looking forward to seeing this man go for his first title shot for real. I want to see him win his first title shot, and you know, see him continue to grow and potentially, go for a unification. I really want to see Shakur Stevenson in there with some champions, um, somebody who can challenge him, and so he can keep this momentum, this fire going. He has a lot of momentum and heat behind him right now, and the boxing community is definitely waiting for Shakur Stevenson to step in there with another lion, so we can see him contend and make those changes and see how dominant he can be. Last time I heard him speak, he's up there. He said he wouldn't care if he fought Gervonta Tank Davis. He sparred with him. He understands what it is. He don't have no problem doing that. You know. Um, JJC said, of course he ain't afraid. Boxing, you can't be scared. Yeah, we say that, but and some of these fighters aren't scared, and some, have a pretty decent poker face. They go in there and then they bow out. You know what I'm saying? AKA freaking Bruce Seldon. You know what I'm saying? Sonny Liston. Of course, that was alternative measures, but it's been a pretty good amount of fighters who bow out for whatever reasons, whatever variables it was, they bowed out. You know what I'm saying? Um, but they may not be scared. I do believe if you're not scared, then something's wrong. You got to have some twinge of fear going into battle. You know what I'm saying? It has to be something there. Boxing Conversation said Oscar don't want the Shakur fight, and he's right to say what he want. Oscar, he needs to kind of let the leash off his fighters a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Oscar is not going to be able to go over here and dictate and just keep his fighters in reserve and pick and choose. He's put it this way. He's a prominent promotion. He's still growing, but he ain't up there with the big dogs just yet. He is doing it big, but I'm just saying there's still avenues that Oscar is unable to venture into right now and make those calls. We need to see him outside of Canelo. Come on, let's do something like we ain't talking about Jaime McGill. We ain't talking about Ryan Garcia. We're talking about some fighters for him to let off the leash to do some big things against some solid names. That's what we want to see. That's a good point, though, man. JJC said he also has nothing to lose as he owns no title, and a loss will only make him better. That's true, man. But at this point, to be honest, I can't talk for Shakur Stevenson, but as any fighter in his position, I truly believe that he would want to win that first title shot. Him not winning that first title shot, JJC, would be like him getting a silver medal. You know what I'm saying? Seriously. He ain't trying to come up short. I'm not going to use the F word fail because he didn't fail by earning the silver championship. He just came up short. That's all. And we know how the Olympics is. It doesn't determine nor does it dictate your professional progress. Syndicate J, what's good? Say WCS, what's good, bro? What's good with you, man? Solid. Yeah, JJC, you right, man. He already has one of those, and he isn't trying to get one. But the only thing about it, when it comes to world championships, is no second place. You either win or lose. You know what I'm saying? You either win or lose. So him stepping up there, like I said, all the momentum is with him right now. He has to do it big, and he has to come out on top. And I'm rooting on Shakur Stevenson to go make that happen. I mean, he has a whole city behind him that's really looking forward to see this young Olympian get that first shot, man, and win. They are. They're waiting, man. You know, when he was in Newark, the people was, I mean, it was ear ringing in there, man. That shit was buzzing. That shit was buzzing. They love to see him come out, man. You know, I mean, I'm curious to see where they plan on having this next fight, especially if the word is right that Valdez will vacate. You know what I mean? Tell me what y'all think about this Tyson Fury fight out of Wallin. You know, I mentioned earlier about that shit. Like, don't too many people even say that Tyson Fury is fighting very marginal, subpar opposition. But then again, for me to sit up here and blast the man, I have to look down the ranking and see who's left. You know what I'm saying? Who's left with Tyson Fury to fight right now outside of, you know, the Deontay Wilders, Luis Ortiz, Anthony Joshua, who's tied up, Andy Ruiz tied up. We don't want to see Alexander Povetkin or Pulev. You know, who all the other fighters are taken. David Price coming off a loss. Oscar Rivas coming off Dillian White. You know what I'm saying? Joe Joyce coming off a recent win. I mean, damn near all the decent names are taken. Serious. All the decent names are taken, man. Anyway, to Dillian White. As you all heard, the Dillian White, all these people that somehow don't know what side to support and advocate for. Valdez said that Dillian White was cleared prior to and post fight dealing with his test. All right, Valdez said that. Whatever you want to call it, Veda, Vada, whatever. They say he was cleared, but UCAD, you know, said he popped for two, you know what I'm saying, two anabolics. So that in itself should render punishment. But this is what I'm hearing about UCAD. There's some, you know, a part of UCAD and how it works, just like a lot of systems, it has a corruptive current according to who's the subject or the target. You know what I'm saying? And they're basically putting it out there that UCAD, the findings may not have validity, but we're trying to wait and see what the entire outcome and the scope and the magnitude of the investigation brings back. You know, we need to see what is rendered with the UCAD. I understand what they found out and everything, but we really want to hear the final word on what their findings. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are they going to do for Dillian White? What are they going to do to him? Because for over there, your first offense for that is 2 years. Then your second is double that. So we're looking at 48 months. But per the substance abuse or whatever, per it's like double. So you could be looking 4 to 8 years suspension for Dillian White, which would absolutely decimate his boxing career. Done. Over. JJC said he already had one of the I read that JJC said I prefer Dillian White or Jarrell Miller to the Swedish guy. Yeah. You know, it would have been good to see Jarrell Miller. You know, that was actually rumor mill out there. I asked Jarrell potentially, will he be the one to face Tyson Fury? And he basically told me that if indeed that was to happen, Tyson Fury would be doing him a favor. So now that we know it ain't happening, period. And then, you know, Jarrell Miller should still be on suspension anyway. For him to even request his license, he has to be cleared of his suspension and then submit for his license. The Swedish guy, of course, Otto Wallin, he's just what's left in the bucket, JJC. That's what's left in the bucket, man. You know, I went through the ranking system. All the good names that we have any familiarization with are taken. They are occupied. Seriously. So what else is Tyson Fury to do for a check than fight another guy that looks like Tom Schwartz? Except Tom Schwartz is German. Damn, these dudes all look alike for Tyson Fury, man. I swear. Besides Deontay Wilder, I'm wondering what he's gonna do with freaking Otto Wallin. You know, is he gonna pick him up and swing him like a baby and joke around and act like he's gonna kiss him on the lips and shit? You know, like what should we expect from Tyson Fury this time around? Because although Wallin looked like Tom Schwartz, you know, Wallin is Swedish and Tom Schwartz is German. And then Francisco Pianetta is German. And then, of course, Sefa Safari is Albanian. That's what that is. That's the makeup to the scope of that profile right there. JJC said, I guess this guy is better than Schwartz, but not a lot better. Look, I'll tell you like this, JJC. He's 20-0, man. 13 knockouts. Undefeated southpaw from Sundsvall, Sweden. You know, now, if you want to dive into his record, it's not really anyone that will perk you up, make you smile, and admire the fact that Tyson Fury is fighting a reputable opponent. There's no one on this goddamn record that's going to make you do that. You have Rafael. He fought Rafael in 2016, December 2016. He fought Rafael Zambano, 39-13. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you want to get into the recent, Adrian Granat, 15-1. He fought him in April 2018. And then Nick Keisner, 21-4. That was this year, April of this year in Atlantic City. No contest from a headbutt. You know, it got split open and they called a no contest. Besides that, you know, it's not really anyone on his record that you can be enamored with to say, all right, I give this man his credit. Common opponents is shit. There ain't no goddamn common opponent, really. That's what it is, man. But you know, Tom Schwartz, we all saw what happened with that. So this guy has 13 knockouts, 20 victories, and one no contest. I believe it's going to play out just like a lot of them. You know, Tyson Fury is going to technically break it down how his strategic offensive plan will be delegated, and it will turn out as such. Unless Wallin has a surprise for us, just like Andy Ruiz did to Anthony Joshua. We will see. But believe me, and once again, Tyson Fury is fighting at the T-Mobile Center. He's going back to Cali because, you know, he's trying to build up this huge fan base over there. You know what I'm saying? He came out with the garb, the outfit, you know, living in America. You know, he tried to build up some fans over here. And I commend him for doing that. I commend Tyson Fury for hanging out over here in the U.S. You know what I'm saying? Building up the fan base. Good on him, man. You know, I like what he's doing over here. But still, his fight style is what it is, man. He can do enough just to make the fight extremely boring and squeak out a victory. We've seen it happen. We didn't work with Deontay though. Um, can't compare Ruiz and this guy though. Hell no, you can't compare. I don't think I compared. I said unless he can pull off Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua. There's no way you can compare this guy, Tom Schwartz, to Andy Ruiz. I'm just saying, if by chance he pulls off an upset, because if Otto Wallin goes in here and upset Tyson Fury, it will shake up the heavyweight division even more. It will shake it up even more. 24, what's good, man? Salute. Welcome. Thanks for dropping in, man, on this Friday. Fury knocking him out in 3. This is the definition of a bum bash. I don't call fighters bums, but I understand absolutely in your totality of what you're trying to say. But look, 24, I gotta, come at you this way, right? I would criticize Tyson Fury a lot more if there was somebody out there for him to fight. Now, I'm not talking about Deontay Wilder because that's over with and done. We already know why he didn't immediately go back to Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder has Luis Ortiz in the shoot. But looking at the names, man, that you and I are both familiar with in the heavyweight division, who can he fight outside of Otto Wallin, the Swedish contender? Who is out there that can fight? Joe Joyce coming off, Price coming off, Dillian White coming off, Oscar Rivas, Povetkin, last year, Pulev suspended. You know what I'm saying? Luis Ortiz, he's ready to contend against Deontay Wilder for a rematch. Who's out there for Tyson Fury to select to split the ropes and contend? Who? There's not too many names that'll really sell tickets like that. Whalen is in the WBA is ranked 11th. In the IBF, he's ranked 4th. JJC said, yeah, he was a big underdog, but he proved himself at a world level against Joseph Parker. Yeah. And you know what? I will say this. Andy Ruiz did, in fact, prove himself against Joseph Parker, which a lot of people felt that he was victorious. But once again, in Venezuela, in another man's soil, he lost the fight. We've seen it happen several times. And that's why I even commend those fighters who go over there to the backyard of another fighter and win. Because you definitely have to make it obvious that you won the fight. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to leave no uncertainty that the fight was yours or be a knockout. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, New Zealand. My bad. New Zealand. So that's why you out here with the keyboards, you can look that shit up. But yeah, New Zealand, man. So he went with New Zealand and lost. And then, people, the reason why people was kind of like, okay, we'll come out and see Andy Ruiz fight because we really truly thought that he beat Joseph Parker. So the common opponent between them two and Anthony Joshua, you know what I'm saying, is Andy Ruiz. The common opponent between Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua was Joseph Parker. So who did it better is the question. We all know Anthony Joshua went the distance, but it was just a referee fest in there. Wouldn't allow them to engage and really get into a exchange between them two. And Anthony Joshua was able to squeak out a 12-round decision. But with Andy Ruiz and Joseph Parker, a lot of people felt that he legitimately beat Joseph Parker. So when we stepped in there with Anthony Joshua, people was tuned in because of the common opponent. And guess what? We all saw what happened. Well, it's all good, man. I ain't on here trying to be absolutely perfecto. And plus, I'm going through a lot of, when I'm going on here, I'm switching back and forth on certain things, So we'll see how that play out, man. Um, we'll definitely see how that play out. Another fight that's popping off in the super featherweight division is Jamal Herring and Lamont Roach. They're going to be coming up. Lamont Roach is getting his title fight. If you didn't see, Gervonta Tank Davis in Baltimore, Maryland, he defeated Ricardo Nunez. Did it in devastating fashion. That's 2 tough Mexicans that he's fought. You know what I'm saying? Had pretty decent chins, but it's only so much of that you can take. It's only so much you can take, man. You know what I'm saying? And Gervonta is a heavy hitter, hands down. Gervonta is a heavy hitter in the game, man. You have to respect his power, and you have to respect when he gets his opponent hurt or any type of vulnerability that he can take advantage of. He's going to do that shit. So you really have to give it up to Hugo Ruiz. Even though he was stopped, you know what I'm saying? He was trying his best to take them punches and hanging there as long as possible, being the veteran he is. And then Ricardo Nunez, he stepped in there and tried to take as many punches and try to return fire, not to capitulate or surrender and Tank Davis' hometown and give the fans what they want. And you just couldn't do it. Tank is a savage, man, when he gets his opponent hurt. It only took 2 rounds for him to do that shit. So what's next for Tank Davis? That's what we want to know. What is next? JJC said, you think Davis will move up? You know, damn good question. But I have to look at it like this, JJC. I have to look at the Floyd Mayweather. I have to look at him really having an influence on the movement of Gervonta Davis right now. So, is there unfinished business, for Tank Davis right now? It is. Just because he's a two-time champion, that doesn't mean unification isn't important. He needs to unify something at the super featherweight division. He needs to, man. We need to see him do something. There's so many potentials out there. Whether it's Jamel Herring, and of course, we want to see the IBF champion Tevin Farmer and Tank Davis fight. But like I said before, you're dealing with Floyd Mayweather, so Floyd want to put him in there with whoever the promotion is good with and so forth. Fighters may indeed want to select a fighter across the board that's on that championship platform, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen. Brissette, hey, all of them three will have fans tuning in. Even the WBO champion Jamel Herring. They'll tune in to see that, but he has the Mutt Roach coming up. But when it comes to unification and super featherweight, we'll definitely want to see Tevin Farmer and Gervonta Tank Davis. So him moving up before that happens, I'll be highly surprised, man. Highly surprised. What y'all think? You think he's gonna move up or not? Tell me. Tell me. But the big talk was, of course, Fury fighting September 14th at the T-Mobile Center against Otto Wallin. Look him up on BoxRec so you can get some familiarization. And then, Top Rank winning the purse bid, for Valdez Stevenson. And will Oscar Valdez even fight at that weight? JJC said, I'd like to see him fight Farmer. Yeah, I'd like to see him fight Farmer because that's what everybody was hoping for. They have a history together. You know what I'm saying? They have somewhat like a semi-rivalry. It's genuine dislike between each other. And, a lot of people tune in for that. But of course, on Gervonta Davis' side is Floyd Mayweather, and we all know he's the one making the decisions. So unfortunately, we might be left out in the open, thinking that will happen anytime soon. There's plenty more out there. The fight that's popping off this weekend, man. Chris Arreola and Andy Kornacki. And Arreola, he's contended for the title 3 times. He came up short. We all know. Andy Kornacki, man, is on the rise. A very entertaining fighter, man. The baby face. And I think he's going to outwork Chris Arreola if you don't knock him out. It's not like Chris Arreola can't be knocked out, but like Chris said, if you lose right now, he's done. He's on one last title run, and Andy Kornacki is a tough opponent for Chris Arreola. Seriously, he's a tough opponent, but it's a good matchup. I like it. You know, Arreola came in at 244, Kornacki 266. I'm like, damn. I would think the opposite. To be honest, I would have thought it would have been a little bit more closer in the weight disparity. But that's pretty good weight. Like, damn, me and Chris Arreola pretty much weigh the same. I said, what the fuck? He came in at 244. I know he's gonna rehydrate a little bit. I mean, it's heavyweight. Well, I'm like, damn. Chris Arreola's in damn good shape. He might be taking this shit serious. You know, he might just be taking this damn run serious. Man, Tank Davis versus Mares, man. Has his eye healed up yet? You know what I'm saying? Has Tank Davis, his first time, the first time that Abner Mares was supposed to fight Tank Davis, and he ended up getting his eye, a retina detached or whatever. Has it absolutely healed? Because he's doing the Fox broadcast for a reason. He's still sitting out. I'm not sure if he's in there, sparring and taking contact just yet, but he better damn sure make sure his eye is good to go before he step in there with Tank Davis. Because he can't go in there with headgear on. Can't happen. But I'm not sure Abner would even consider stepping in there with Davis on a return bout with his eye injured. And there's no way in hell, man. There's no way. So we'll see how that play out. Also, another situation we can talk about, another matchup, would be Jaime McGill versus Jesse Vargas. Jesse Vargas is very, competitive. He moved up to 154 right now. Jaime McGill is a big 154 pounder, so he's going to have the size advantage, sort of kind of against Jesse Vargas. But I'm curious to know how Jesse goes about this fight. Jaime McGill, in my opinion, has a lot of improving to do to polish up his skill set. And so I look, I'll say right now, seeing both fighters, fight several times, I would say Jesse Vargas has the better skill set. But moving up a weight class, going in there with a Tijuana, tyrant, you know what I'm saying? We'll see how that all plays out. Y'all tell me. Jaime McGill versus Jesse Vargas. What's your take on that? What is your take? Just let me know. I can't say Jesse Vargas is going to win because Jaime McGill is a tough fighter, willing to go in there and take punches. Jesse Vargas is not like he's a power puncher. We'll see. Who else is out here? You have the UFC 5 going on. Kobe Covington is going to face Robbie Lawler. That's going to be a nice fight. And the only thing I can tell you, Kobe Covington, he has pretty solid wrestling. Pretty solid wrestling. We've been waiting for him to step in there with someone who has pretty decent takedown defense, and that would be Robbie Lawler. Okay? He was in there with Damian Maia and took a lot of punishment from a fighter who's not really a striker. He's really had to work himself up to that point to improve his striking with his hands. He's a jiu-jitsu guy, okay? World champion. But Kobe Covington took too much damage in that fight for me. Seriously. And, being that he has pretty decent wrestling, we know jiu-jitsu against a wrestler, sometimes the two negate one another. Damian Maya, he will basically allow you to put him on his back. He can work off his back for a submission. So that's the optimism in going in there, going for a single or double leg, or getting in close with what they call the backpack. They call Damian Maya the backpack. So you gotta be very, attentive to going and locking up and going into the clinch with a jiu-jitsu guy like Damian Maya, who would definitely take your back. But Kobe was able to pull it off. Now, when he steps in there with Robbie Lawler, who we just seen come off a so-called premature stoppage against Ben Askren, you know what I'm saying? But Ben Askren had him in the bulldog choke, and Robbie was on all fours. Both hands was on the canvas, and he was on his knees. He really had no defense. He wasn't defending the choke. He was just relaxing, from what I understand. What it looked like to me. But Herb Dean stopped the fight because he believed Robbie was out. But seeing Robbie pick Ben Askren up and slam him and land down punches, it still puzzles me on how he was able to allow Ben Askren to reverse that momentum and earn the advantage, take his back, and put him in one of the anomaly chokes in mixed martial arts. You rarely see fighters being put in a bulldog choke. But they're the main event tomorrow night. They weighed in already, both balanced out scales, and it's a fight. So we'll see. We'll see. Um, JJC said, Burchett, Farmer, or Garcia. Yeah, I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? If the promotions do, I agree with that. But they'll find somewhere. They'll find a fighter for Davis to fight. But what we want to see of him, possibly unifying right now, put him in there with somebody who can fight. That's what we want to see. Somebody that can actually throw down. That's who we want to see, man. Covington is Usman like. We'll get to see. We'll get to see. I understand what you're saying. The wrestling is similar. They both are dominant wrestlers, but I look at it like the punishment that he took against Damon Maya, who is a jiu-jitsu world champion, right? And then I look at Tyron Woodley, who negated around 24 takedown attempts from Damon Maya, right? And he didn't hardly take any punishment, any damage from that Damon Maya fight. But he did tear his labrum, right? So when you're talking about Covington and Usman, like I looked at the performance Usman had against Tyron Woodley. Like Usman had an easy day at the office with Woodley. And we're talking about two guys who has a wrestling background. You know what I'm saying? Covington, believe it or not, Covington is a dog when it comes to wrestling. Covington just don't give a damn. He's gonna use his striking and wrestling, and he will put you on your ass. He just don't care. Like with Usman and Woodley, they was pretty conservative with locking up. You know what I'm saying, going up against the cage, and then Usman was able to get earn some momentum periodically. But it would be good to see these two fight. They genuinely don't like each other. It would have been nice to see Tyron Woodley fight Kobe Covington too. You know what I'm saying? Kobe tomorrow should defeat Robbie Lawler. I would say Robbie has better hands than Covington, but when it comes to wrestling, of course the nod go to Covington. But Robbie Lawler himself has pretty decent takedown defense. He was in there with Hendricks. He did pretty good with Hendricks, who's a lay and pray type of guy. He's been in there with some of the best. Roy McDonald. We saw the war, the battle, the bloodbath that those two put out. They lost a part of their life in that match. JJG said, like basically a cheap version of Usman. Yeah, I get what you're saying, bro. For real. That's real. I understand what you're saying. Chimp say this is full of shit. He injured, but he's training with Lawler for Covington. Hey, you know how the game is played, man. Any type of freaking mind games, advantage, whatever that can happen, they're gonna do it, man. I truly understand. I get what you're saying, checking the box on that shit. But you know, I put it this way: if you're injured, sparring should be an issue. We don't know what he's injured with. Like, what are you injured? If you helping Lawler prepare for Covington, it's going to be wrestling. It's going to be takedown defense. It's going to be all of that shit. So, what is injured in Kamaru Usman? And to be honest with you, like just because he beat Tyron Woodley, I'm not absolutely sold on Usman because up to that bout, him talking about he going 30%, I'm like, damn, go 100% so we can see. And I have to, give it up for him going in there against a fighter like Tyron Woodley. But look at Tyron Woodley. His go-to is a blitz. Touch you up with the one, come over the top, or come hard with the two. You know what I'm saying? That's his blitz. He'll back you up. He'll fight off the back foot, retreat, and then he'll blitz. And if you standing there and if you fall back online against Tyron Woodley, you will get hurt. He will crack you, just like he did Darren Till, just like he did a lot of other fighters, just like he did Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He will get to you. But Usman wasn't playing that game though. JJC said, I think the fight would be 48-47 either way. It's possible, man. It's possible. I just think Lawler hands is better than Covington. So it might be a bit more disparity in that. If Covington, goes for the takedowns, the same shit we saw with Hendricks on Lawler, it's going to be a bit more of a gap in that scoring. You know what I'm saying? Especially if Covington really doesn't allow space for striking during that bout. If he ain't willing to exchange with Robbie, and he always want to throw the fake, throw the 1-2, really isn't trying to connect just to get in on his hips, then and he's able to be successful, then we might be a little bit more of a gap with that scoring. But good point, man. Good point. He said he's recovering from a hernia surgery. Yeah, that motherfucker lied. He ain't recovered. Look, you ain't preparing Robbie Lawler for Kobe Covington when you have to damn do hip escapes and you got to go in and damn lock up and do takedowns and you recovering from hernia surgery. Believe me, I've been there. That shit ain't popping. And that's the main reason Kamaru Usman has to gain more fans, man. You can't sit up here and be helping Robbie Lawler prepare for Kobe Covington and just say, hey, I have a moral victory because I helped Lawler prepare for somebody I don't like. That's bullshit. Hernia surgery and you wrestling? Shit. You full of shit, man. That ain't cool, bro. T Wood wasn't himself that fight, and that's where I know T Wood, man, he didn't look like. We're talking about a fighter in Tyron Woodley who negated 24 takedown attempts from the backpack himself, Damon Maya. We're talking about Tyron Woodley who went back to back with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. You know what I'm saying? Tyron Woodley who smashed Robbie Lawler in one round to take the title. Who smashed Darren Till in 2 rounds. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Tyron Woodley did look a little lethargic that night. But, hey, we don't know what was wrong. We don't know if he had an injury. We don't know. JJC said Willie doesn't have the best cardio, so he has to attack and burst. True. He has to pace himself so he doesn't gas. That's true words, man. But look at the fight between him and Kamar. It wasn't high energy or high impact, was it? It was more so a lot of times they were just locking up over or unders up against the cage, you know, idled. It wasn't really a high energy fight. It was just how Kamar Usman was able to keep that break on and not allow Tyron Woodley to, gain any type of momentum during the fight. It wasn't one for the ages, in my opinion. If I want to look back on fights, right, I'm not gonna say in my top five I got Kamaru Usman and Tyron Woodley. It just ain't gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. JJC said Usman is also very big for the division. Hell, his Twitter name is 84 kilograms, which is 185. Just like, his Twitter handle should be freaking 30% too. So he was busy up there telling people he was only going 30%. Well, I'm glad that he was able to get the title. You know what I'm saying? I mean, kudos to him. Salute, congrats to Kamaru Usman. But I really want to see him step in there with somebody of a top tier name next time. I really want to see what his striking is like. Chimp said, I know Usman is a weight bully. I mean, there's a lot of people that's in there as a weight bully. But look, I thought for sure Dana White will open up that 165-pound division, which would have did a lot of people justice. You know, too big to make 155 and too small to compete at 170. So let's open up a 165-pound division. You know, let's stop procrastinating. That's all I'm saying. Stop procrastinating. I thought for sure Dana White believed that Henry Cejudo was going to lose to TJ Dillashaw, so he would have shut down, that flyweight division. But it didn't happen, and Henry Cejudo was on the rampage. He said, "Okay, you try to shut me the fuck down. No, I'm coming here. I'm doing what I got to do." You know. So I thought for sure the 165-pound division, if they were successful at shutting down that flyweight division, I thought for sure Dana White would open up a 165. That would have been cool. Chim said, "What do you reckon to put back on Covington? Both the Shevchenko sisters, Romero, Tahari, and Khabib. I mean, what do you mean, Aka? I'm not gathering what you mean, Chim. What do you reckon to put an Aka on? Opinion or what? Let me know what you mean, man." JJC said Tahari lost to Nakamura. He's trash, bro. I was just wondering what he's meant. You want an assessment or whatever? It's pretty much. I was gonna say the same thing JJC just said. I'm not saying he's trash, but I'm just saying he did lose to Nakamura, and Nakamura. No one's sitting up here calling out Nakamura. You know what I'm saying? Um, Chim said, "I know, but look at Gall, though he's done out here." Um, Mickey Gall, though he lost last time, I like Mickey Gall. I'm glad he didn't fight CM Punk a second time because that shit was just it was just stupid. But even Sage Northcutt, I'm glad that when they put Sage Northcutt, release him from the UFC. That was the best thing because dude is a physical specimen when it comes to his diet discipline, his nutrition, but he has a lot to work on. He's still wrapped up in that point fighting, and he leaves his chin open a lot. He needs to learn how to move around the damn cage. You know what I'm saying? Move around the ring. And that's why he got knocked out his last fight, because he still has a little bit of that mindset to point fight. You can't do that shit in professional, man. It's mixed martial arts, man. You get knocked out. JJC said Romero just won millions, 27.5. Also, Romero just won millions of dollars in his court case. So who knows what his motivation is like. I'm curious to know if he's going to get a penny of that just yet. I believe it's like 27.4, 27.5. Still a hell of a lot of money for that tainted supplement that really redeemed his character as a fighter. You know what I'm saying? His brand. It did a lot for Romero because people was calling him a drug cheat. That's the reason why he looked the way he do, and it was a tainted supplement, and he won. He won big, man. Like you say, is he going to be motivated to come in here and really put that shit on the line? I don't think so, man. Okay, thanks for that clarification. Accumulator. The Shevchenko sisters, of course, the more popular one is Valentina, and Valentina is due to fight again. The her opponent is a worthy, opponent to step in there with Shevchenko. I'm very impressed with the bullet. I am. I'm very impressed with how she's handling business at the 125-pound division. The flyweight division. I like it. I just need for somebody to challenge her now. You know what I'm saying? I just need someone other than Nico Montano. I don't ever want to see her come back and try to step in. She ain't trying to fight Valentina Shevchenko. That's why she fled the motherfucking open workouts after it was over with, because she was like, shit, I ain't getting my ass whooped by Shevchenko. So I really want to see her step in there with somebody that's thorough. Hey, y'all tell me about this, though. Marie, this JJC said that tainted supplement prevented him from becoming world champion. I don't know about that. I mean, because really, I thought he won against Robert Whitaker. I mean, I could have thought he got the victory, man. I was up here saying, yeah, he getting the victory against Robert Whitaker. For a second time, they locked up. I thought he did much better, man, but he wasn't able to. And for Romero, Yoel Romero, man, I know damn well he wants that world championship. He does, man. Yoel wants that shit, but it depends on where he's at right now mentally. That money might have goddamn washed all that shit away. Hey, bathing in $27.45 million, man, can change a lot of shit. Believe that. What y'all think about Mackenzie Dern? Come on, man. Come on. For those of you that's in the building, man, tell me what you think about Mackenzie Dern. I gotta get some input. I have to get some correspondence about a Brazilian jiu-jitsu world champion, you know, highly talented to her transition over to the UFC and can't make the damn weight. She's trying to contend at 115 and she only made weight once. That's bullshit. She missed her I believe her last fight or whatever. She's supposed to come in at 115, right? And she weighed in at like 123, 122. That's unsatisfactory. That is freaking disrespectful. And you're not respecting the sport by continuing to contend at a weight class and be a weight bully when it comes to freaking going to the ground. Look, she just had a kid. She just had her first kid 5 months ago. And she's due to step back in the cage sometime soon. I'm like, how is that going to happen when you're having problems without a pregnancy and you're stepping back in the cage? Man, look, that's another guy, Paulo Costa. I said the same thing about his physique, right? I was like, hey, this dude might not be clean. I'm talking about the shots that he took against Uriah Hall. I'm like, God damn, this motherfucker is like a wall. And then it came up that he popped positive and this, that, and the other. Man, that'll be a good fight, man. Both of them are physically gifted. When you talk about athletics, when you're talking about skill set, as far as versatility, I still have to give a nod to Yoel Romero. But Paulo Costa's hands are nice. His hands are nice. Both are shredded. It's going to come down to who has the better cardio. And you know what? We've seen Costa. We've seen him stay on the gas, especially against Uriah Hall. And come on now. I know Uriah Hall has faltered in the past. I know. But he was taking some shots, y'all. Paulo was taking some shots, and he weathered all of that shit and kept moving. Chef said, "I don't think he got a penny out of the millions yet." I believe it, man. You know, just because you win it don't mean you receive a check before you leave the courthouse. That's a lot of money for a company to be giving up. So whether he's going to get that money up front or he's going to get in installments, we don't know. I don't know the particulars or the details. JJC said Mackenzie Dern should move up the flyweight, and I absolutely agree. But what she's trying to do is believe that she can come in overweight and outweigh her opponent and bully them on the ground in her specialty. And Dana White has allowed her to get away with this shit. You know what I'm saying? You can't sit up here and chastise Gaslam and what's the other dude that was fighting that freaking lightweight that kept missing weight, and Dana was like, if you miss weight again, you're not gonna fight in the UFC again. So you can't sit up here and threaten the male fighters and then turn around and have Mackenzie Dern, who's only made weight once at that division. Now get the fuck out the division and go at the 125 where you know you're gonna have fighters up there that will goddamn put hands on her. It won't even come close to going to the ground. Take that shit up to flyweight and go see some of them competitors in flyweight. That's real. It won't be the same. I just don't know why she's getting away with this shit. But you know, I'm about to tell you all what the ranking systems. We're gonna comb through the ranking systems right quick in that particular division. All right, because I'm gonna tell you who she got to deal with. Let me pull this up right quick. I want to tell you who Mackenzie Dern has to deal with. That's why she ain't trying to fuck with that flyweight division. She's trying to hang down there with Thug Rose Namajunas, who's much smaller than her, and all that other bullshit. So in the women's strawweight division, right? Check this out. Let me read these other comments right quick. JJC said, this is Costa's first fight without using the IV. Wonder how he recovered from the huge weight cut. Yeah, man, I wonder too. I wonder if he's going to have that endurance also, man. Very solid point. Chimp said, I want Cyborg's contract to get renewed and Aspen Ladd to go up and get destroyed. Aspen Ladd to go up and get destroyed by Cyborg. From what I hear, man, Cyborg is being released from the UFC because her contract has expired. And her and Dana White does not have the most healthiest relationship. So she most definitely may be out the UFC. Dana has said that he was trying to have Cyborg and Amanda Nunes too, but Cyborg didn't want the fight. You know, she wanted the fight of the female that she just fought in a tough battle. But I truly don't think. I don't know, man. It's hard to know with Dana White. I don't know if he's lying on her because you know what I'm saying. It's hard to tell. But Cyborg was lit up by Amanda Nunes, lit up on the feet. That didn't even have a chance to go to the ground and work no ground game. JJC said, I'm glad James Vick is moving up to welterweight. His chin can't take those shots at lightweight anymore. Man, come on, bro. Come on, JJC. You actually think his chin gonna take it at a higher weight? It doesn't usually transfer over as such. It's not like you have confetti. You know, you have that light feather confetti in your chin at the current weight you get knocked out at, right? You know what I'm saying? And then you move up to welterweight. You get the harder substance. You get the confetti with some motherfucking clay and a little bit of cement particles. It doesn't work that way. James Dick Chin is pretty much gonna remain the same moving up there to the 170-pound division. I mean, Justin Gaethje touched him on the chin. And then recently he got closed out again, man. Come on, you got to change up your style. You got to do something. If you got a weak chin, it's a difference between James Vick and stopped and Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje comes in there with every bit of his arsenal on his shoulder for you to see. He shows you every goddamn weapon you're gonna experience if he can get a hold of you. That's Justin Gaethje. Vick, him going in retreat, being very selective in how he's going to select his offense. I mean, he's getting really touched on the chin and dropped immediately. Like Justin Gaethje takes an cumulative amount of punches before you closing him out. Two different fighters. Chim said, quick on Dillian White. What do you reckon on this situation? I reckon he's a hypocrite. I'm bad. What do you think? I really don't get in the personal. Like, I really never had an attachment to Dillian White. Like, before I saw him in Vegas, I was critical of Dillian White. I actually walked up here on the table, in a restaurant where he was having a business meeting, and he actually got up. Like, it was some important people at that table. If I would have pulled out I already had out my phone, really. But if I would have damn snapped that table, some people would have got upset. But he stood up, and we took a picture. No problems. Now, does that have anything to do with his goddamn testing positive? No. But what I'm saying is, don't try to get up here, all these social media casuals that's saying he's been vindicated all because of VADA. The point and the question at hand is UCAT. UCAT said he popped for 2 anabolic steroids. So being he's a repeat offender, the minimal first offense for UCAT is 24 months. The second offense is double that. And then, of course, per violation is double. So, the word is he may be facing a 4 to 8 year suspension. Why people getting on here saying he's been vindicated because he passed the pre-fight and post-fight? Man, you just need to do more research, man. Like, I don't see Dillian White coming up out of here scotch-free. I don't see it. JJC said James Vick struggled with his boxing, but that is actually his background. He was a Golden Gloves champion. I understand, and I know that he was a Golden Gloves champion. Golden Gloves is a lot different than when you turn professional, even in the sport of boxing, for some. Now, put that in perspective, mixed martial arts, there's a certain type of defense we all understand that you have to set yourself to be able to respond to, whether it be strikes, with hands, elbows, whatever. What they call it? The kicks, of course, takedowns, and then his spinning technique. Fighters who can have pretty solid spinning technique. You have to factor all the areas of concerns when it comes to mixed martial arts. The one thing about Vic, he isn't being connected on with any technical shit. Like, it's no spinning technique. It's not a spinning heel kick, Vito Belfort style. You know what I'm saying? It's not Paul Felder. This is straight down the line fundamental boxing shit for which he should understand being a Golden Gloves fighter. He should have some type of defense to it, but he's getting dropped by straight punches. He needs to work on his defense. He needs to work on his foot coordination, his foot movement, exiting up out of there. He needs to work on his lateral movement. Real talk. Tim said, what do you think about Leon decision, and more decision Edwards? Leon Edwards, the one that got the 3-piece and the soda, his last fight was extremely boring to me. It wasn't that entertaining. And, I can't really put an entire scope, a magnitude on his performance to say he ain't nothing. He's not going to be anything in the UFC. Why? Because I see Kamaru Usman. I've seen him have some boring ass matches before stepping in there with Tyron Woodley. And let's be honest, his bout with Tyron Woodley wasn't anything spectacular. So Leon Edwards having a boring fight, he steps in there with freaking George Masvidal. He might have success in certain areas. I don't know. But I know the way George Masvidal pieced him up out there. I'm like, shit. Like, dude, you was talking shit to a guy that used to fight in the streets, like Masvidal, who has that many fights, and you're gonna walk up to him and you're not fully guarded. That to me is concerning because Leon Edwards should have had his hands up. He should have been ready to know that if Masvidal was walking over there with his hands behind his back, then that you know the backstory and the history to this dude, you should have had your motherfucking hands up. Right or wrong. Right or wrong, champ. You know what I'm saying? Right or wrong. Leon should have had his hands up. So if he goes in there to a bout with freaking Masvidal, and he's already been freaking pieced up outside the cage, man, I'm just saying, right now, Masvidal has the damn energy. He has the juice. She said it was an impressive victory, though. It was impressive, but, I just sit there and analyze shit a little bit different. It was all right. I wasn't overly, he did what he had to do, man. And you know what? I got to give it up. Some fighters have boring ass fights. She said, dominated Dos Anjos on the feet. Look, Dos Anjos, it's not like Rafael Dos Anjos haven't been dominated before on the feet. Tony Ferg has been in bloodbaths. You know what I'm saying? Rafael Dos Anjos has been in bloodbaths. Seriously. He's been in some wars, man. Shit start to slow down neurologically if you can't respond and get out the way of some of those punches or pull the trigger to fire off. It's a problem. Damn good shit, man. Good feedback, y'all. Good feedback. Let me see. Chimp said, yeah, but his fight with RDA was like Chiesa versus Sanchez. I look at certain things with Leon Edwards that I expect, being that, he has some people tuning in to him. I think Chiesa versus Sanchez, being that I know the history, being that Sanchez was on the first Ultimate Fighter, he has such an extensive history, and to see Chiesa, who has had some questionable losses, but they was losses, okay, to Kevin Lee and his last one, for him to move up and look the way he did, I said, okay, shit, Chiesa's in the right weight class. So that's why I'm not really dogging out just yet James Vick. Because Michael Chiesa, though he wasn't getting knocked out and stopped, somewhat his ground game a little bit. He was being subbed by, putting himself in a predicament and shit. Now he moved up and fought an old veteran who's very tough. Diego, he's outside the box. He got it done. So I'm looking forward to the next for Michael Chiesa. For real. He looked big in there, man. Shit. Michael Chiesa, he probably felt good. He's like, shit, I feel good in this weight class. I'm about to go put this work in against Diego the Nightmare Sanchez. I'm the nightmare tonight. Chip said, bro, that's my point. He's playing victim, but why would you tell a man to shut up for no reason when he's doing his post-fight interview? I concur. I concur. Especially a guy like Masvidal. Come on, man. A dude who was fighting the Kimbo Slice era out there in the streets, fighting dudes that was bigger than him. He got lit up with a 3-piece and assault and got a scar now. Yep. He pieced them up real good. He pieced them up real good. And Leon should have knew better. He should have had his hands up and he should have kept proper distance. Even outside the cage. If Masvidal was the aggressor, he should have known better. But you know how fighters think, man. You know how fighters think. Sometimes they believe it's just gonna be rah, rah, rah. No, not with Masvidal, man. JJC said, I think Edwards beat Masvidal, but not Usman or Covington. I don't know. That'd be a tough fight, man. I know a lot of people are still reeling over the knee that he landed on Ben Askren. Without the knee, I saw George Masvidal beating Ben Askren. Without the knee, I very well could have punished Ben Askren because I didn't see Ben going in for that takedown and gaining momentum like he did against Robbie Lawler. I just seen him being outworked. You know, I thought Ben Askren would have some type of success if they was to have a fight, go rounds. But I just felt George Masvidal would have did pretty decent. Because why? Because his boy is Kobe Covington. He's been working on his wrestling skills. You know, he's been working on his wrestling skills. So that's why I kind of give the edge to Masvidal to be able to withstand a little bit of Ben Askren's shots. You know what I'm saying? To have that takedown defense. That's all. That's his boy. They've been wrestling forever and a day. So yeah, Masvidal's wrestling has came up. His takedown defense too. JJC said, although Covington defense is pretty bad, so Edwards catching with those elbows. The only thing I would say about that is the fight plan, because Kobe Covington, the punishment, like I told you, that he took against Damian Maia, which really isn't a lethal striker when it comes to the hands. He had to evolve to that shit. You know what I'm saying? So Covington, though his wrestling is on point, he definitely needs to evolve his hands, and I'm pretty sure he's been working on that. But to caveat what you said, yeah, Leon Edwards, man, like anything, if you want to land some elbows, you have to get in close. You have to have momentum behind those elbows. You have to, be strategic in picking the right time. Your timing has to be on point to land those elbows. But that's a good fight, man. I hope it happens sometime soon. I hope the momentum stays up, Chip say maybe, but he beats Masvidal via decision. No way he finish him. I got to go with Masvidal against Leon Edwards. I have to go with Masvidal, man. Being a more experienced fighter, I think Masvidal's wrestling is better. And I think his versatility. But can Edwards potentially get in on him and land? Of course. Darren Till land on Masvidal, dropped him. But I was also impressed with Masvidal rising up and continue to fight on and end up stopping Darren Till. Somewhat similar. You know what I'm saying? Somewhat similar to Tyrone Woodley blitz. Almost similar, man. Chimp said, yeah, maybe. Okay. Chimp said, do you reckon Nagano gets the belt next year? Okay. Check this out. Outside of John Jones, Daniel Cormier is the best in the UFC. All right? When I used to watch Daniel Cormier in Strikeforce, he was wrecking muff. He was wrecking heavyweights. The way he made Josh Barnett look, the way he was tossing him around the ring. We talking about a jiu-jitsu practice. We talking about a ground specialist. We talking about a vet like Josh Barnett. Man, Daniel Cormier was undefeated in the heavyweight division in Strikeforce. Undefeated. Francis Ngannou, I don't see him being DC. I do not see him defeating Daniel Cormier. That's my take on it. To me, he still has some work to do. I understand he's been up here getting these wins or whatever. But when I look at his overall skill set outside of his hands, I'm still saying him going in there against Daniel Cormier, what are you going to do when he gets you in the clinch and press you up against the cage and zap all that energy and deplete you from your strong point? Then your punches become slower. Daniel Cormier is able to see him a lot more. You know what I'm saying? You exhausted. I'm just not convinced right now. I don't give a damn how he almost freaking decapitated Alistair Overeem. Overeem has been knocked out several times before. Don't bring up Curtis Blade. It has nothing to do with anything. I'm just looking at the way Stipe Miocic was able to go in there and defeat Francis Ngannou. And then him stepping in there, Stipe, who has a boxing background, and getting knocked out in the first round by DC. You do the process of elimination. I don't see Francis Ngannou having what it takes right now, man, to go in there and knock out DC at heavyweight, at a weight where DC doesn't have to cut weight. DC is at his strongest point at that weight. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Come on. Y'all feeling me? I mean, what? Come on. Tell me if I'm wrong. Let me hear your input. JDC says Scotty ain't high on Ngannou. Nope. If Cormier wins and retires, then Ngannou will become the champ. I'm sure of it. That's possible. But you still have Stipe Miocic out there, JJ. You know what I'm saying? So if Cormier retires, just say he retains the belt, okay? And then he retires. Hopefully, a bout happens between Cormier DC, which people pay to see, or Cormier and John Jones trilogy. But I'm getting the energy a little bit from John Jones that he's not willing to fight a heavyweight. So if DC is willing to fight Francis Ngannou, at this point in time, I don't care how much freaking kicks or power shots that he's looking impressive on. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if he went in there and knocked out Junior Dos Santos, who did the most dumbest thing of overly committing on a right hand against a power puncher and turning your back on Ngannou. It was the dumbest shit ever from an experienced vet as JDS, man. I was goddamn disappointed in that shit. You overly committed. And when you know that you have a heavy hitter behind you, why would you just try to tiptoe out the pocket? Get the fuck out that motherfucker. Run. Roll. They teach you how to roll in jiu-jitsu. Your jiu-jitsu game is much better than Ngannou. You could have rolled out that bitch. Not just tiptoe out there and get smashed in the right side of your head, get dropped, and then finished. Get out of here with that, JDS. You know better. JJC said, yeah, but they ain't going to give Miocic another shot at the title if he loses to Cormier again. I don't know, man. I don't know, because look at the lineup. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Stipe Miocic is ranked number 1 in the heavyweight division, first and foremost. All right? So if Stipe go in there against Daniel Cormier, loses, and DC retires, maybe not the next fight that Stipe would get another title shot. You know what I'm saying? I agree with you on that. You know what I'm saying? I agree with you on that. But you also have to look at Stipe. Stipe defended his title 3 times, the most of any heavyweight, if I believe. I think DC has defended both the lightweight. He's the only one to defend the light heavyweight title and the heavyweight title. But Stipe did defend the heavyweight title 3 times. And he lost via first round knockout to DC. So, if he gets another title shot and he loses, who else is it for Francis Ngannou to face? Who? It's not going to be JDS. He just knocked him out. It's not going to be Curtis Blade. He already defeated him twice. It's not, okay, Derek Lewis. All right. Derek Lewis potentially. Derek Lewis has a fight coming up. And we'll see how he does there. Alistair Overeem is not going to be in there. Alexander Volkov. I don't know. Alexander Volkov, he might get the call. Derek Lewis might get the call. It's definitely not Cain Velasquez. You know what I'm saying? Ivanov, Blagov Ivanov, he's due to fight Derek Lewis next. And we're not even going to talk about Bam Bam Tai Tuivasa He's not gonna get it. None of them. But the only two names I see is Derek Lewis. Um, I mean, really, Derek Lewis fighting Francis Ngannou. Whoever wins that, there's not many names to change, switch, man. Alexander Volkov. It's very limited, man. John Jones has been given that. JJC said maybe they will force Jones up to heavyweight. They can't force him. He has the want to fight heavyweight for a big meal ticket. John Jones would not move up to fight heavyweight with a big fighter like Francis Ngannou unless the money's right. Just like, the fight DC, unless the money's right. I mean, that's a big test. You see how he looked against freaking Thiago Santos. Thiago was fighting on a bum ass. I mean, like his knee was shredded, and he still was landing on John Jones. Imagine moving up to somebody like Francis Ngannou. You have to understand something, JJC. I may not be sold on Francis Ngannou, but when I break down the analytics of fighters, I'm not gonna be ex parte just because in that particular division, I don't think that particular fighter will win against one of the high tier competitors. You know what I'm saying? I don't think John Jones will have an easy go at Francis Ngannou. I don't think so. Francis Ngannou hits hard. And I'm just saying that off the way he looked with Thiago Santos, man. Thiago's a big dude in there, like tough as shit. And he kept John Jones at bay, but he was outpointed, outworked. Yeah, Lewis is coming off a loss, and you have to understand Derek Lewis have back problems too. So he had to get his back treatment and all this other shit. And plus he has to improve his all-around skill set. I've seen Derek Lewis fully mounted. We all seen it if you watch the fights. Fully mounted and was able to make it up out of there. You know, he wasn't submitted or wasn't stopped. So I was starting to be like, man, I'm giving Derek Lewis a little bit more credit. He was full mount. They had him on his back, and he was still able to get up out of it. Nagano fighting for the belt this year is possible. Tuivasa is a clown. Yeah, he busy drinking out of shoes and shit, man. Enough of that. Goddamn, stop drinking all that damn beer and get in the gym and stay there and hydrate off some water. That shit was cool the first time you did it, but that shit old when you ain't winning. You ain't winning. JJC say you better believe the UFC would pay Jones for that. Yeah, absolutely, I agree. They would pay John Jones for that. Chim said John Jones dominated the Santos fight. I didn't see a domination, man. I seen him pointing, scoring points and winning the rounds. But I did see Thiago's keeping John Jones at a distance at bay, keeping good distance with his punches and landing kicks when he could. But I wouldn't say John Jones dominated the fight though. Hell no. Hell no. Solid input, man. You know what I'm saying? Nearly everything Santos was throwing was getting blocked and swerved. Yeah, John Jones did block some. Of course, he blocked some shots, but Thiago was still landing, especially when he knocked the mouthpiece out of John Jones' mouth. He must have hit him pretty hard because John Jones really didn't close distance for a takedown or even a clinch. He really didn't do too much, nothing except, you know, strike from a distance and place his punches strategically, without taking any punishment. I had to give it up to Santos. I didn't think he'd stay in there for the duration of the fight the way he did. I had to give it up to him. Tim said, I feel like everyone wanted John to lose. They made a big deal of it. Yeah. John Jones is the one they love to hate. When DC was in here, people were like, yeah, DC. Yeah. Ah. Time John Jones came back. Boo. Boo. I was like, God damn. Y'all do my man. When they was walking to the ring, John Jones and DC, they was booing DC for no reason. No reason. And then John Jones, he come down there. Yeah, John Jones is back. Yeah, that's just the way that those finicky MMA fans are, man. They have no loyalty. JJC said, I think it was close. Came down to who you thought won the second round. Santos won the first. Johns won the third. And fourth, Santos won the fifth. Yes, pretty much. Pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. Can't disagree with that. JJC said, I personally gave the second round to Jones, but I ain't going to argue if it gave it to Santos. You know, this is a tough round, man. It's according to who, it's according to if they went with quality or quantity. You know, the power shot Santos was throwing or the quality shots John Jones was landing. You know what I'm saying? That's what it boils down to. Chip said he was advancing literally the entire fight. He dropped him with the elbow. That was a good fight, man. It was a good fight. But when it comes down to it, it's very dense in the heavyweight division. Seriously. Very dense, y'all. Junior Dos Santos, I mean, come on. Nagano just freaking finished. We're not gonna see I mean, damn. It's hard to even look at, for real. It's hard to look at when it comes down to the heavyweight division. Nobody ain't gonna see Cain Velasquez for a while. He about to do his wrestling pro debut, his pro wrestling debut, entertainment, whatever. Alistair Overeem's been damn near freaking headless. He's been knocked out so many times. Alexander Volkov, he might be coming back around sooner or later. And like I said, Derek Lewis is about to face Blagov Ivanov. That's it. And let me ask y'all this: what y'all think about Johnny Walker? What do you think about Johnny Walker? Should he fight? You know, is he a name to look at? Is he serious? Is he for real? Is he legit? Let me know. Johnny Walker to KO that clown who was trashing Jones by M1. Um, I agree with JJC, man. Walker to me, you know, he can't even complete a post-fight celebration correctly without injuring his freaking shoulder. And plus, he's been knocked out cold before. He had to prove himself. Seriously. Johnny Walker just has to prove himself. He really needs to. You know what I'm saying? Johnny Walker has a ways to go up the chain before he even considered. So the good thing about it, you know, Champion JJC and everybody else who tuned in, you know, Corey Anderson has just called him out. Corey Anderson, I believe since he's been in the UFC, he's lost like 2 or 3 times, right? Let me see. No. He might have lost once, okay? But Johnny Walker is being called out by Corey Anderson, which would be a pretty good fight. Corey Anderson is ranked number 8 right now, and Johnny Walker number 12. All right? So that'd be a pretty decent fight. I don't think Johnny Walker should go any higher than 10th, 9th or 10th. You know, immediately. I just don't think, you know, him recovering from an injury and, you know, just because he's calling out John Jones, he should get the shot. No, there's a lot of other fighters he can face. Alexander Gustafsson, we're not sure if he's going to retire just yet. Anthony Smith, we saw him come off a 5-rounder with John Jones. You know, he can fight Anthony Smith. Shit. You know, Thiago Santos is not going to be around anytime soon. Volkan Ozdemir, he's looking to get back on track. Chim said Johnny Walker to KO that clown. Chim said, what's his name again? He got knocked out in 18 seconds before he even got to the UFC. Corey Anderson. Corey, the decision is Anderson. Yeah, that's true, man. Corey Anderson, I'm not gonna lie. You look at him and Derek Brunson. Like Corey Anderson, he would take his time and be real patient on what his offensive strategy is going to be, and then Derek Brunson just got down overly aggressive, get knocked out. Like Derek Brunson got stopped by Jacare Sosa twice knockout, and you don't want to change up your style, homie. I mean, come on, man. You got to be smarter than that. JJC said, yeah, he knocked out Serkinov, but go watch Serkinov's fight with Volkan. Serkinov ain't hard to knock out people. Yeah, he's a tough dude. Blackowicz should get after one more victory. Yeah, I like what Blackowicz is doing. I like what he's doing. For real. I like what he's doing. I definitely like his last fight. Seriously. A lot of people didn't think it'd go down like that, but it did. You know? And I'm not saying it because Luke Rockhold, he had good intentions. Luke Rockhold had good intentions, but Blackowicz goddamn closed the lights on Luke Rockhold. You know what I'm saying? I mean, hurt him at the end of the second round. I mean, Luke Rockhold, he just needs to stick them all in. That's what he does. He was going in there with a beast, and Blackowicz closed him out, man. Period. He said that's why his name is Overtime. Yep. The show, man. I'm hearing rumors of Jones versus Blackowicz for UFC 244. Man, that'll be a nice one. That would be a nice one. Blackowicz is a heavy hitter. For real, that dude got some power. I ain't talking about just because freaking Luke Rockhold been dropped before. It's the way he did it. It's the manner for which that was delegated and executed. I like what I'm seeing him stepping in there with John Jones. It just won't be a lopsided affair. I like what I'm seeing against Juan Blackowicz, man. Go in there and get that work. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. John Jones has defeated Alexander Gustafsson in the second round before. All right. So he won't be back up in there. Then he defeated Anthony Smith 5 rounds, and he just went 5 rounds to Thiago Santos because the only one that's remaining is Blakovic. I think his name Blakovic, not Blackowicz. Blakovic. That's his name. Blakovic. That'll be a good one. I like that matchup. Blakovic and John Jones. That'll be a good one. John Jones will be tested. He's going in there with heavy hitter. Has very solid power, more athletic than people give him credit for right now. I guess a lot of people found out he was more athletic when he went in there against Luke Rockhold. You know what I'm saying? So we got to give him credit for that. You know, I'm looking forward to that one. If that's the case, 244, 245, kudos, man. I'm looking forward to see that shit. Hey, what do y'all think about Israel Adesanya, the style bender, against Robert Becker? How do you all see that playing out? I was the one, I will admit, okay? I will admit, I thought Israel Adesanya would definitely take an L before he actually got the title shot against Robert Whittaker. I thought he would because he was taking punishment, and Kevin Gastelum kind of proved my point. He just didn't have enough to finish Adesanya. You know what I'm saying? Now he's going up against Robert Whittaker. And I hear Chimp said Israel by UD. Wow. So you giving Adesanya the win by UD over Robert Whittaker, who's been in there with Yoel Romero twice? Twice? You don't think he learned anything? So let me ask you this: who wins between Israel Adesanya and Yoel Romero? If you giving Adesanya the UD, how? How? You know? And then Chris Weidman. I'm assuming that you're saying Chris Weidman is about to face Ronaldo Sosa, right? If I'm correct, Chris Weidman is facing Ronaldo Sosa. Chris Weidman, a lot of people are frowning on him because he's taken some tough losses. He's good enough to lose. It's fucked up to say he's good enough to lose, but that's Chris Weidman. He had his run. He had his high point with goddamn Anderson Silva. And I gotta give it up to him, man. He had his highs and lows in the sport. He got caught with that knee from Yoel Romero that just came out of nowhere. I mean, goddamn. Like, I still think y'all give me y'all feedback on this. Which knee was better? George Masvidal, Ben Askren, or Yoel Romero, Chris Weidman? Which knee was better? We're talking about the overall aspect of striking, the concealment, and the element of surprise. Which knee was better? Yoel Romero, Chris Weidman, or George Masvidal, Ben Askren? Which knee was better? You tell me. And there's another knee out there too now. Okay, I've been watching mixed martial arts for some time. I didn't forget my man Jose Aldo, Kevin Swanson. Woo. Jose Aldo, Kevin Swanson. God damn, he had freaking he had Cub Swanson. He had Cub Swanson, goddamn, kicking his feet like in pain. I'm talking about UFC. I could throw in there freaking Michael Venom Page and Cyborg. That shit was a skull crusher, literally. Michael Venom Page and goddamn Cyborg. That shit was absolutely insane. He hasn't even been back to the freaking. I don't think he can fight again after that shit. And then come to look at it, his first loss came against Douglas Lima, who timed him perfectly on the front side kick, and goddamn hit him with that right uppercut, right on the chin. But anyway, I just had to get that. I got Whitaker, man. I like Robert Whitaker. I think he has some of the best hands in the business prior to. I used to think Frankie Edgar had some of the best hands in the business. For real, best boxing. And then, Robert Whitaker, he started winning. I say Robert Whitaker has better hands. Masvidal any day, game bread. Yep. What's going on, Jay Dixon? And we've been having a lit mixed martial arts freaking conversation. It's been some damn good topics. You got some topics dealing with boxing and MMA, man. Put them out there. Chimp say, but watch it. I'm going Israel. I feel like he's hungry than Whitaker. He's got that long reach. I feel like he's gonna pick him apart the whole fight. Let me ask you this, Chimp. Do you think that Kevin Gastelum is better than Robert Whitaker? Because you look at the problems and the difficulty that Kevin Gastelum gave Israel Adesanya at certain spurts in the fight. Do you believe that Robert Whitaker is less of a fighter than Kevin Gastelum? Because Robert Whitaker, in my opinion, is much better than Kevin Gastelum and will give Israel Adesanya much more problems than Gastelum. He has better cardio than Gastelum. Yeah, Jay Dixon said that MVP Negroes movie, hell yeah. That shit was motherfucking highlight. That's the shit you put at the end and the beginning of the credits. That shit the timing was impeccable. JJC said, I got to go with Romero's knockout over Weidman. Look, to be honest, that's what I said too, because it came out of nowhere. Like, Weidman isn't known for just going for the shot like that. Even though he's wrestler, okay. But the way Yoel Romero executed that knee, It was no way, no how. It even seemed like he was going for it. How explosive he is. So I have to concur, man. Good shit. That's my pick. I thought Yoel Romero's kick was much more concealed and executed perfectly than George Masvidal. Jim said, for personal reasons, I would go with Whitaker. But I think, is he going to take it? Wow. All right. I'm going with my boy Robert Whitaker, man. I'm going with my boy Robert Whitaker. I'm just not sold on Israel Adesanya right now, taking it against Robert Whitaker. That's not saying he isn't. I'm just going with Robert Whitaker all around. Been in some good wars, has the experience. Have to go with my man Whitaker. JJC said, I want Adesanya to win. I just saw a lot of holes against Gastelum. But Gastelum had him looking funny too there, JJC. I mean, come on now. He had Israel looking like he was about to apply for the next Predator movie. He had that man looking funny. I don't give a damn how Israel go to the post fight. Yeah, he got me with some good punches. I stayed up. No, I'm sounding like Michael Bisping. I did what I had to do. I got it done. I fucked him up and pissed all over the cage. That's what I do. I'm Israel Adesanya. That sounds like a little bit more like Israel. Anyway, JJC said, if Gastelum landed a head kick on Adesanya, then you better believe Whitaker will. Yeah, Whitaker's all around game, and plus his kicks is much better than Kevin Gastelum. But give it up to Kevin Gastelum. Very tough dude, man. I like Kevin, but he just didn't have the cardio to get it done, man. You know? Yeah. You can't forget about the Gastelum fight, man. You can't forget about that. Jay Dixon said, I think the fight is too early for Israel. I'm saying the same thing, but hey, he's dispersed. He's came up the ranks, man. You got to give it to him. He came up the ranks. Somehow they fast tracked this cat. They fast tracked the shit out of Adesanya. They want the next best. You know what they're trying to set up? They want Adesanya to get a belt so they can have a champ contest between him and John Jones. That's what they want, man. Like Robert Whitaker is a down, low key type dude. You know, he don't talk too much trash at all. But once Israel Adesanya is able to get, he's able to get that middleweight belt. Then the verbal sparring between him and John Jones would be much more applicable. Then he will have the credential and the mettle to say, you know what? I need to go out here and check out my boy John Jones. I know I can beat him. I know I can. I'm the style bender, Israel Adesanya. I'm going to piss all over the yard. And I know I can beat John Jones. Yeah, that's what he want. He want to get that belt first before he really start. Before Dana White really start trying to make a champ move with freaking Israel moving up the light heavyweight to challenge John Jones, because everybody compared them to one another. Champ say, but come on, Masvidal did the Usain Bolt, did a snatch, man. Hey, they knew that Ben Askren was going to go in for the shot. Perfect, flawless victory. I like it. That's what it's about, right? You have to know the reaction to your enemy. You have to have some type of instinct. It's not saying it's always going to be right, but it's good to have an understanding as to the mannerisms and the reactive nature of your opponent. And hey, he know if pressed, Ben Askren's going to duck in for the double leg, for the takedown. He landed that knee perfectly, stiff like an ironing board on Sunday. Chimp said, but come on, Jay Dixon said they want him to replace John Jones. I don't know if you can replace John Jones. Like, John Jones has never been defeated in the cage, right? He's never been defeated. We're not talking about that Matt Hamill death by 1,000 elbows, okay, 12-6 bullshit. He's never been defeated. So stylistically, for John Jones and Israel Adesanya, it's nice. It's a nice fucking matchup. Don't y'all agree? It's a nice matchup. Israel Adesanya, John Jones. Nice matchup. Now, granted, I don't see, and there's no way anybody else is going to prove to me that Israel will move up to light heavyweight and defeat John Jones. I just don't see it happening, man. Tim say, you see kickboxing match in 17 seconds when Adesanya got knocked the fuck out. Yeah, I seen that, man. And that's why I tell people, like, that was kickboxing. It still involved kicks. He was knocked out, just like Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker was knocked out before in strict fashion. JJC said Jones is too big and too well-rounded for Adesanya. Adesanya doesn't really offer a threat to Jones, in my opinion. Adesanya can make the fight interesting because their styles mirror up in some areas. They're both tall, rangy fighters. But I agree with you on John Jones being a much more experienced, versatile fighter and have advantage over Adesanya. But also with that style, it can be a boring match too. It can be one of those you go, I go, just like freaking Darren Till and motherfucking Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Both of them had almost similar styles. And it was the most boringest freaking bout I've seen in the UFC. I swear. Never want to see damn Stephen Thompson and Darren Till fight again. Jay Dixon said, I think Askren and Lawler should have had a rematch. Hey, Dixon, me, and a lot of other people felt that Askren pretty much for ducking that fight and saying, I don't want to go back to Lawler. I want to go myself to what I got, as far as all the backlash is coming from him being knocked out. Say I antagonize guys. I'm guilty for that. Ben Askren owned up to it. But he should have gave Robbie Lawler the rematch. I concur with that. Tim say, how can they give Askren a no contest for gouging out someone's eyes when he was losing the fight? Jones at L for the Hamilton. I don't know, man. Matt Hamill was hit with a 12-6 elbow. Matt Hamill was hit with a 12-6 elbow. You know what I'm saying? And whatever happened in those wrestling scrambles and all that dirty shit they do, like goddamn covering up the nose and the mouth and them eye gouging and shit like that. You have to look at a 12-6 elbow. Like Matt Hamill was bloody, he was beaten, and John Jones was freaking thirsty off freaking blood. And he was in the adrenaline rush, and he landed that 12-6 elbow. And of course, Steve Madagazi stopped the fucking fight of all times. You know what I'm saying? Of all times, you're gonna stop a fight. He stops it when John Jones was clearly winning the fight and beating the shit out of Matt Hamill. He got disqualified. BS. One of the most BS stoppages I've seen in a while in the UFC, man. JJC, if Askren loses to Mayer, is he done? He just got to the UFC, first of all. and why would he be done just off a second loss? Why? How can he be done just because he got knocked out? You know how many UFC fighters, mixed martial art fighters, have taken L's in return? Look how many. Let me just give you a couple of names that's just taking knockouts. Let's first start with Alistair Overeem. Come on, man. Junior Dos Santos. I'm just kicking it in the heavyweight division right quick. All right, look at those people who's been knocked out. Okay? Look at Mauricio Hua, Glover Teixeira, Alexander Gustafsson when he was stopped by Rumble Johnson. Anthony Smith, who was taking all those losses before he was released. I can go on and on. Ronaldo Salsa, he was stopped. Derek Bronson, he was stopped twice by Salsa. Ronaldo Sosa, Uriah Hall. He can never keep it together, man. Brad Tavares is one of the toughest in that division. He had a tough bout with Israel Adesanya. Very tough dude. You know what I'm saying? David Branch, he's still in the top 15. Anderson Silva, look how many losses he's experienced. Robbie Lawler being knocked out before, he's still in the fight. Neil Magny, he was stopped. Ben Askren, he's in 10th right now, but he was knocked out cold. Look how many, losses Anthony Pettis was on. Regardless of what weight class he was in, he had his losing streak. He wasn't kicked out. Stephen Thompson, he went on his losing streak. He lost twice to Tyron Woodley, lost to Darren Till. He's still in the UFC. The list goes on, man. I'm telling you. The list goes on. Look at Conor McGregor. Subfest. Donald Cerrone, his losses. Justin Gaethje, this cat was stopped twice when he was in the UFC. He hasn't even came close to going back out the door. So to answer your question, no. Ben Askren isn't done. Dude is 19-1. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? He's 19-1. If he lose to Maya, he'd be 19-2. It ain't a big deal. He just have to regroup and come back. Kim said, yeah, but let's be real. Askren is 35. He's too much one dimension. He gets smoked by a lot of top welterweights. Shit, goddamn Robbie Lawler's old too. Robbie Lawler in freaking fight years is way older. You know what I'm saying? He got some miles on him, Robbie Lawler. He's been in some wars, especially with Rory McDonald. Dixon said, I think Showtime versus Diaz fight coming up will be a good one. Let me see. I don't know, man. Diaz has been out so fucking long, man. I think Showtime is going to have an easy go with Diaz, to be honest. Like, Showtime's grappling is pretty much equatable to Diaz. All right. He shouldn't have a problem even thinking about going to the ground. And, even though Diaz brothers have always had good, solid boxing, I think Showtime Pettis has improved so much that he's going to be able to, have the advantage on a rusty Diaz, man. Nate Diaz. Seriously. How can you come back from taking all that time off smoking weed, doing whatever he's doing, and go in there and put on a phenomenal show against someone who's been fluctuating in weight classes and gaining momentum back? It's not going to happen. And if Nate Diaz is able to do that, I'll salute him. I'll say, shit, you proved me wrong. JJC said, if Askren get knocked out by Maya, he is done. Let's be real. I don't think so, bro. I don't think so. 19-2. Now, we don't want to go through the records. We don't want to go through the records of fighters who has 5 losses, man. They're still in the UFC. Askren, if he gets stopped by Damian Maia, he isn't done, man. No way. No way, man. No way. Look at Jose Aldo. Didn't Jose Aldo lose twice to Max Holloway? I know he's a legend of the sport, but then look at Frankie Edgar. He was stopped by Brian T.C. de Ortega. He's been taking L's periodically. You know what I'm saying? Look at Yair Rodriguez when he was experiencing all his losses. Jeremy Stevens, he was in title contention and he was stopped with a body shot. How? Josh Emmett. How many times has Josh Emmett been stopped? He suffered about 1 or 2 knockouts when he was on the go. Look at John Dodson, one of the most boringest fighters. John Dodson has take some loss. He's still in the UFC. And he's one of the most boringest fighters you can watch. Jimmy Rivera. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy Rivera was clipped by Marlon Moraes. And then went back in there and lost again against Aljamain Sterling, I believe. I mean, they ain't being kicked out the UFC. Cody Garbrandt, Come on, let's be clear. TJ Dillashaw twice. Pedro Munoz first round. Come on, man. These cats ain't leaving the UFC. I can go on and on with this shit, man. Yeah, but look at the thought. Look at the entire process of Askren coming over to. It was the first ever trade. Okay, they traded Demetrius Johnson for Ben Askren. There's no way Dana White is gonna sit up here and release Ben Askren just off one or two losses. It ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Just understand that. It's not going to happen. It's not gonna happen, man. It's a lot of other fighters that's been in the UFC much longer. Yeah, but look at the finish. Look at the loss. If we're talking knockouts, it's been some fighters that get knocked out that's still in the UFC. Why? And they continue to get knocked out every other one or two fights. Every other two fights, rather. A knockout is a knockout. Just hey, look, just like you just said. AJC said Dawson never been finished though in his 10 or 11 losses. Listen. It's a good point, JJC, as you said. But he's the boringest fighter. His highlight is the when he initially made the debut stopping TJ Dillashaw. Kudos. He went in there against freaking Demetrius Johnson, couldn't get it done. He been in there with the best, can't get it done. Come on, man. When is enough enough? When is enough enough, man? When we just gonna pull the freaking access from John Dotson? Because dude doesn't look like he's improving his game at all. You know what I'm saying? Like he just doesn't seem like he's improving his game. Like if you're the magician and you 20 and 11, when do you plan on improving your fight game and your skill set? You lost to Jan, you lost to Jimmy Rivera, you lost to Marlon Moraes, lost to John Lineker, won against Gamburian, lost against Demetrius Johnson, lost again to Demetrius Johnson. You know what I'm saying? Like his winning streak, just put it this way. His winning streak after losing to Demetrius Johnson the first time, it's been like three. That's it. And then it's a loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, loss. So he's pretty much declining. And he's still in the UFC, y'all. He's still in the UFC. Um, JJC said they should do Garbrandt versus Dotson. Why you say that? Tell me why you say that. Because you got to look at who Cody Garbrandt has lost to. Cody Garbrandt, he lost to Pedro Munoz, right? Pedro Munoz just lost to freaking Aljamain Sterling. And then you look at him losing to TJ Dillashaw, who's out on suspension for testing positive and shit like that. So you take Cody Garbrandt, who was stopped by TJ Dillashaw, and stopped by Pedro Munoz. That's three freaking knockout losses. Three. It ain't no way in hell I would stoop that low and fight John Dodson. He just lost to Pedro Munoz. So in between Pedro Munoz is Dominic Cruz, who he beat before. And we don't know when Dominic Cruz is coming back. He's injury prone. Rafael Assunção was up there. You know what I'm saying? And Cody Garbrandt isn't ready to fight Aljamain Sterling right now. Aljamain Sterling will work Cody Garbrandt. The way Cody looked in there against freaking Dominic Cruz, I was impressed. I was like, shit, he was dancing around, footwork, motherfucker's fluent. I mean, he just looks good tonight. And then he get into his what they call the jock syndrome, the meathead mentality, thinking he want to go in there and knock everybody out against a skilled fighter like T.J. Dillashaw. And he got finished twice, man. Then go in there against Pedro Munoz and do the same shit and get stopped. It's just asinine to think about what was going on in Cody Garbrandt's head. I just don't get it. Anyway, enough of that. And Champ said I feel like Askren knew his first fight very controversial. Second fight gets knocked out, and third fight if he loses, I feel like he's finished. Okay, I mean you can feel that way. That's your OP, bro. That's your OP, no doubt. One thing I'm not gonna sit up here and really tie and dig in real deep is prognosticated predictions. You know what I'm saying? Because you might be right, I might be right. I'm just saying the effort for which Dana White has allowed Ben Askren to come into the organization. I'm doubting he would basically pull the plug so early. That's all. JJC said they should go Garbrandt versus Dawson. I totally disagree with that. Boring, both of them are strikers, stand-up strikers. I just think it'll be a boring ass fight. Seriously. It'll be a boring ass fight. Maybe Dawson will get finished. Possibly. If Cody Garbrandt doesn't go in there strike, because Dawson has power. We know John Dawson has power. That's one thing John Dawson has. He has pretty good power when he lands. Now, when he lands it is the question. You think Jan would smoke Cejudo quickly? I disagree with that. Come on, man. Come on, champ, man. What you doing? Smoke Cejudo? Cejudo is on a roll right now. He dispersed of the damn 135-pound bantamweight champion in the first round. And he was dirty. And you think Jan is going to go up there and smoke Henry Cejudo? Man, Henry Cejudo is looking very clean. Like Henry Cejudo is looking sharp right now. He's looking untouchable. He's looking dangerous. He's looking lethal, toxic. See, Cejudo is looking consistent. He is, man. I don't absolutely don't see that happen. That's just me. I just don't see that happen. Yeah, Dotson does strike cautious. Now, when he gets to the point of pressed up against the cage, I mean, the man has unbelievable athleticism and quickness. Dotson, like he can do some things that most fighters can't do, and so did Demetrius Johnson. Well, when John Dotson, man, he just don't allow himself to explode enough. Like he's very conservative with the gas. Like when he finished the fight, he still has gas in the tank. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he should just freaking press the gas a little bit more, hold it down to the floor, and power through that shit and take himself to another level in the fight. That's what I see, man. Maybe he should try that. Jan's boxing is too crisp for Cejudo. Look, it may be too crisp to a point, but when it comes to the takedowns and him getting in on them hips, locking up, putting them on his seat, then it becomes a whole different ball game. And Cejudo's shot is rocket. We're talking about rocket scientists. Cejudo has a very respectable shot, man. You're talking about Olympian gold medal. Cejudo, man, you gotta respect him. And we're talking about mixed martial arts. Jan striking can be on point, but also Henry Cejudo can set it up as if he's about to strike and make Jan overly commit and being on his hips before he know it. And then he's going for a ride. I mean, this is mixed martial arts. You know the deal. Y'all know the deal. I ain't telling you anything you don't know. Jan, hey, he might be getting a shot because I definitely don't want to see Rafael Sunsao face freaking Henry Cejudo. Hell no. You know, Aljamain Sterling has worked himself back up. You know what I mean? So you look at Aljamain Sterling possibly getting a rematch with Marlon Moraes, who knocked him out with that switch left high kick. That'll be a rematch I would like to see. Aljamain Sterling and Moraes. You know what I'm saying? Since Henry Cejudo is already defeated Moraes, then guess what? I think Sterling should get his shot at Henry Cejudo. Forget Moraes, who just lost. You know, let Aljamain get his shot. See how he does against Cejudo. And then next in line would be Petrie Young, man. Pedro Munoz just lost. So that's around about where it's at. Nobody else can come up and get any work. Nobody. Not Jimmy Rivera, who was also clipped by the same kick, Aljamain Sterling, that switch left high kick. Cody Garbrandt has been closed out 3 straight. Dominic Cruz injured. Pedro Munoz was just defeated. You know what I'm saying? Prior to by Sterling. So it's either Yan or Sterling. And right now, Yan, I mean, is ranked below Aljamain Sterling. So they should go ahead and give Aljamain Sterling that title shot. Yeah. If he blows it, that's him. Moraes is a joke for gassing out that quick in a championship fight. Shit, he didn't gas. That goddamn combinations that was being put together. Jesus Christ. Henry Cejudo said, I'm staying right here in your chest, and we're gonna play chess. He changed it up. He's saying it's gonna be a striking war right now. I ain't running no more. I'm not gonna stay on the outside. I'm gonna stand and trade with you. We're gonna see who has the better. You know, he started landing those shots and going to the body on Moraes. I was like, God damn, he breaking them on. He breaking them down. He made Moraes freeze up. Like them body shots was hurting. I was like, oh shit. So who knows has changed outfits. He said, fuck the outside. I'm gonna stand with this dude. You know, Henry Cejudo went into the cringeworthy mode. You know, he put the mask on. He changed characters right then and gave Moraes a different look. And Moraes didn't know what to do with it. He's like, oh shit, this motherfucker, he's not gonna stay on the outside so I can land my kicks. You know, he's gonna come in, get close, go to the body. And those body shots started to hurt. It absolutely depleted the energy. It took the confidence away from Marlon Moraes. Awesome. Awesome fight, man. Very entertaining. Had to give it up to Henry Cejudo for that. Real talk. Real talk, y'all. I had to give it up to him. But that's a damn good point, Chimp, man. Good point. Good point, man. He gassed the fuck out. Them body shots depleted him. And that shit wasn't no joke. That's for sure. All right, Chip, you over there in London. That's what's up, man. 1:30 here in London. I'm going to sleep, bro. Hey, man, enjoy that, man. Always a pleasure. Thanks for dropping through World Combat Sports, man. See you next time. Be sure to pass the word. I'm pretty sure you got a lot of MMA fans over there in London. You know what I'm saying? Salute to you all over there and keep on grinding. Well, that's cool, man. It's always good to get some boxing and MMA heads in here and talk that cross threading of combat sports. Always good shit. It's always good shit to know more than just one combat sports discipline. I always tell people that it's always good to chat it up. You know, I don't know why people think, Mixed martial arts is like the plague. It's an exciting shit that goes on in mixed martial arts, man. Some people think Conor McGregor is the only thing that's in mixed martial arts. Shit, Conor McGregor haven't had a belt in a long ass time and never defended a single title. You know what I'm saying? People still believe that get the notorious one in there, have him go back and do it again. Shit. He got subbed by Khabib after talking all that shit, man. What's next? Dana White trying to put him in there for another title shot again? Like, come on, bro. Why is Conor McGregor even in the top 15? No, Valentina Shevchenko is the flyweight champion and has a belt, and she's behind Conor McGregor. Now I can understand Jessica Andrade and Tyrone Woodley being behind Conor McGregor, but Valentina Shevchenko has a belt. Tony Ferg, he has an interim. Robert Whittaker, he has a belt, but Stipe doesn't. I'm going on the pound for pound ranking right now. Stipe Miocic don't have a belt. So how the hell he in the top 10? I have no idea. Dustin Poirier has an interim title. He about to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov for the lightweight championship. That's going to be very good. Kamaru Usman is a current welterweight champion. He's in 7. Max Holloway is in 6. I can give Max this high standing. Okay. He did go up and get handled. Was a smaller fighter. Got outworked, outperformed by freaking Dustin Poirier, man. But at least he tried. He dared to be great. And then he went in there and won against freaking Frankie Edgar. He totally blitzed the shit out of Brian T. City Ortega. And then Amanda Nunes, the champ. You know what I'm saying? Like, her in 5th, I don't have a problem with that. She does have 2 belts, though. In actuality, like, you got to look at who she defeated, who Henry Cejudo defeated. I truly think that Henry Cejudo had the more quality competition than Amanda Nunes. So him being in 4th, Amanda Nunes being in 5th, I can check the box on that. And then you have John Jones, who hasn't been defeated in the octagon at all. One blemish just by disqualification. And Khabib Nurmagomedov is undefeated lightweight champion, coming off a 4th round sub of Conor McGregor. And of course, the one and only Daniel Cormier, man, this former champ. He relinquished the light heavyweight title once John Jones came back, and he's the current heavyweight title holder. That's real talk, people. That's the 1 through 15 pound for pound rankings from the one and only World Combat Sports. I just gave you the breakdown, the history of all of that shit. And it doesn't make any sense when it gets up there in the top 10. Seriously. If Robert Whittaker is coming off an injury, I know, and Dustin Poirier have an interim title, why is Robert Whittaker behind Dustin Poirier? Why? And how is Kamaru Usman, who just won a title from Tyrone Woodley, in front of Robert Whittaker, who's defending his title? That's what I'm saying. The inconsistency lies. You feel me? Dixon say I was on the Conor train. Yeah, a lot of people was there, Dixon. A lot of people was on that train, man. Dixon said UFC 236 was fire. It was even better up close and personal. I believe it, man. I believe it. Seriously, I believe it. They just have to make some more cards that's just all around suspenseful. Have that competitive, attention from the fight fans, not just from 1 or 2 fights. But that top 1 through 15 pound for pound ranking is always distorted. Always distorted. Like from 1 through 6, okay, I get it. I get it a little bit. Well, Kamaru Usman, you can't say they put in the heavier weight classes and giving them preferential treatment. Like, you can't say they're putting people up in the top 10 who's defended their title, because Kamaru Usman just won the title. Max Holloway's defended his title. Amanda Nunes defended her title. She's a champ. Henry Cejudo's defended his. He's champ. But Dustin Poirier, what are you doing? Like an interim title supersedes Robert Whittaker, the middleweight champion? How does that all work? Stipe Miocic knocked out in the first round, the former heavyweight champion. He's still in the top 10. Makes no sense at all. Tony Ferguson is right behind Robert Whittaker with the interim belt. How's that? How's he in front of Valentina Shevchenko? Well, I can ask those questions all day long, but Jessica Andrade, she's in the back of the top 15 because she just picked up a title from Thug Rose Namajunas in the strawweight division, right? She just picked up the title. So if Jessica Andrade just picked up the title, y'all tell me why Kamaru Usman is 7 and Jessica Andrade is 15. Why? Someone give me that information. Provide me those answers. If she just defeated Thug Rose Namajunas, why is she in the back door of the top 15? Kamaru Usman is up there in the top 10. How does that all work? And Stipe Miocic doesn't have a belt. Tony Ferguson has the interim. How can Tony Ferguson with the interim be in front of Jessica Andrade and Valentina Shevchenko if they both have championship belts? They're the undisputed. Conor McGregor is above Valentina Shevchenko and Jessica Andrade, and he has no belt. But Tony Ferguson is ahead of Conor McGregor. Come on now. Stop it. Well, anyway, people, it's been a pleasure. I know it's Friday night, man. I've been on here for over 2 hours. It's been an absolute pleasure for the ones that was on here kicking it. Dixon, Champ, JJC, man, appreciate the dialogue, combat sports, boxing, and MMA. It's always a pleasure. We need to get these numbers up in here. You know what I'm saying? Get the numbers up. That's all. Get the numbers up. But I appreciate the ones who tuned in. Definitely. It was conducive cast today. Went over some good, solid topics. Let another mixed martial arts, the UFC card is about to kick off. And then we'll be back on here next week and see how that plays out. With Robbie Lawler and freaking Kobe Covington. We need to see how Kobe Covington performs against a veteran like Robbie Lawler, who's coming off a controversial loss, last time to Ben Askren. But in that loss, he was put in a predicament. He was in a bulldog choke. He wasn't out, but goddamn it, he was in there and it looked like it was tight. It was tight. But we'll see, man. We'll see. Well, until then, y'all be sure to turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports.